These are the number of times the work that we do with OCD recovery today might not have even began. Well, when I recovered from OCD, how much do you think I wanted to devote my life to being around more OCD? I didn't want that at all. I viewed it as the lost years, as you can see by my video on YouTube titled The Lost Years, and Sam's done a few videos on the lost years, and Nick since then. How much do you think I wanted to be around OCD when it had been such a dark period of my life? And I felt like that black hole had sucked away the years of my life that I wanted to be the fun, the best years. How much do you think I wanted to be around that? I didn't want to be around that. I wanted to now move on with my life, happy life, OCD past, gone. Right. So what did it take for me to get over that situation? Well, I thought to myself, if I don't do this, I don't see OCD coming out the dark, because the majority of the stuff and work I see on OCD is all around leaving thoughts there, leave it till worry time. Imagine it's a radio station playing in your head and sort of tune out from that frequency, from that station. And it was very light-hearted stuff. So I knew that was what everyone was seeing on social media most of the time. And I thought the key fundamentals of Albert Ellis's work, Stoicism and so on, wasn't being put into practice. And I knew, without blowing my own trumpet, that I could bring a depth of knowledge on exactly the OCD experience and journey that wasn't there now, and I wanted to make that happen. I wanted to change that. I wanted to bring OCD out the dark and put it on the map. Now, how many other barriers were there? Well, I didn't particularly want to be associated with OCD because I like my life. You know, I didn't want everyone on social media to see me as someone with, hi, I've got OCD. I wasn't Robert the OCD guy. I was Rob, a guy who's got nothing to do with OCD in his social life. And I didn't particularly like the idea of everybody that I know seeing me on the internet as someone talking about OCD. And then I thought to myself, boy, if I hold that attitude, there's too many people stuck with it and it's never going to come out the dark. And you can always say, oh, leave it to someone else. And then I thought, I've spent so much of my life with this, and I know that I can really change this. And I really, really believe in that and believe in myself to do it. And I thought, do you know what? Screw it. I'm going to do that. Right? And I don't care what they think. Like the same with shame attacks, you know, you learn to not care what people think of you, which had been a large part of the recovery journey. And then I just thought, screw it, let's go for it. You know, there was loads of other things. I thought working with OCD was going to be very tiring. People asking what if all day long, having to deal with very difficult cases. I thought it was going to be very, very tiring, not the most fun to be around all the time. I also thought because I have OCD, I thought, God, is it going to be sort of putting myself around OCD so much and so many themes and so many thoughts? Is that the best process for someone who's recovered? And then I thought, well, screw that as well, because when you're facing fears and hearing it all the time, of course you're not going to care. Like I couldn't care what thoughts I hear. I'm talking a long time ago when I got into working with OCD. So I thought, you know what? Okay, I'll do that. That doesn't matter either. And trust me, when I was early in my career and the phone used to ring 30, 40 times a night with what if questions and thousands of WhatsApp messages all about OCD over the years. You know, I've been working with OCD for a long time. I work with some of the most severe cases on the planet today. I've worked with over 25,000 plus people in my career. I see in the webinars more people probably a month than attend most OCD conferences in a year. So when you've been through this journey and you look back now from a very different place, and I remember all those points at that time of starting, of course I had huge reservations. I thought this is going to be a mammoth task. When I look back now, I think I do kind of think, like, look at the journey and look at the team around me, and we've got these, amazing characters, the likes of Nick, the likes of Momin, the likes of Sam, that are, every day pushing ahead with bringing OCD out the dark and to change so many lives. What do you think it was like when I was 17 years old? I was in my bedroom. I was stuck with chronic severe OCD, and I thought I was never going to get better. That position I was in is not that different to so many, the kind of knowledge I had then I didn't have knowledge then of 17 of OCD, let's say early 20s, when I started to find out I had OCD and stuff like that. That very basic knowledge at the beginning of my journey is what I see so much of today. People come in all the time and say to me, hey, Rob, I've been told to leave it till worry time, but I can't do that. I mean, it's absolutely mad that that's the case still today. You obviously can't leave something to worry time, because that would bypass the disorder. It's like saying, oh, have you got the flu? Yes. Okay, can you just save those symptoms for next Friday? Don't experience them now. It doesn't work like that. But people tend to think these things who don't have OCD and don't understand how it operates. So that's really key. And those reminders are always the things that sort of spur us on to do the work we do. When we see stuff like that, people come in and say oh, I've been doing exposures for a year, I'm still not better. The person I'm working with is sort of stumped at what to do next. That's what spurs me on, because I know, they're obviously not going into a depth of acceptance. They're not breaking down all these beliefs and looking at all the complexities of how OCD operates. It's not easy, all right? It's not easy. And I understand that people are trying their best and doing the best with the knowledge they can. But the sad situation is most OCD help out there is pretty basic. It's pretty basic. I can't tell you how long I spent sort of breathing like Darth Vader, doing sort of deep breathing exercises, thinking that would get rid of existential OCD when I was terrified of sort of eternal pain after death, right? That did nothing for that. I needed to understand how my irrational thinking was operating in a catastrophizing cycle. I needed to understand how uncertainty was being rejected in the mind. I needed to understand how time and me passing through it and going through my life, there was no need to be constantly analyzing every second, a threat. And that was irrational in of itself. But that is not just said and done sort of I see that done. It needed to be behaviorally adopted and embodied for that default baseline inner peace to be restored a flat line once again, instead of that bumpy, rocky road roller coaster peaks and troughs I was experiencing 24/7. It's all I could bloody knew at that point. So when I think looking back at that journey was hard. That journey had so many barriers that today it wouldn't even be here, the work today. There wouldn't be the 2,000 plus videos on this channel. There would be just the deep breathing, save it to worry time content, which is everywhere, okay? And that came about through the belief that I wanted to make a significant change to how OCD recovery was being done worldwide. And I hope that we've achieved a lot of that already. I know that we've achieved a lot of that, but I don't know every single person that's been helped by the work that we do. But I know a fair bit, because I get lots of emails and messages all the time, and the thousands of people that are in all the WhatsApp groups that tell me about how their lives have changed, and we see how their lives have changed. But we've got a long way on this journey. We've got a long way to go. We're very serious about what we do, and we're all about putting in that work day in, day out to make that happen. And in a good, let's say 3-4 years from now, I'm confident that we'll have all our work in many, many languages, 10 times the amount of content we've got out there, and hopefully will have reached so many more people and made significant change to their lives with OCD. And we're going to continue doing that day in, day out, because that's our passion and mission of what we're doing. And let's see where we get to. We've got to bring OCD out the dark. We've got to put it on the map. It's 2024. We're getting it done. And that's a bit about the journey to getting here.